Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Hold on a second, because what the Philadelphia Phillies just did might be the most underrated move of their entire offseason, and nobody's talking about it. While everyone's been losing their minds over Bo Bichette signing with the Mets and debating whether giving JT Realmuto 3 years was smart, the Phillies quietly dropped $4 million on a 17-year-old kid who was already dominating former major league pitchers when he was 15. Let me say that again. 15 years old, facing grown men who pitched in the big leagues, and he was getting hits off them. This isn't just another international signing. This is the kind of move that defines franchises for the next decade. The Philadelphia Phillies have officially signed Francisco Renteria, a 17-year-old center fielder from Venezuela, to a $4 million bonus. And according to Charlotte Barnes at The Athletic, that number ties the franchise record for an international signing bonus, a record that was set all the way back in 2015. Think about what that means. In an era where player valuations are through the roof and every single dollar is scrutinized, the Phillies just committed a record-tying amount to a player who hasn't even played professional baseball yet. This isn't a flyer on an unproven talent. This is a full endorsement of a generational prospect. So who is Francisco Renteria, and why should Phillies fans be absolutely losing their minds right now? Let me break down exactly what the scouting reports are saying, because this kid is special. Baseball America ranks him as the number 2 prospect in the entire international class. MLB Pipeline has him at number 3. This isn't some regional sleeper pick. This is a consensus top-tier global talent who every organization in baseball wanted, and the Phillies got him. Here's what makes Renteria so exciting. He's already 6'3". At 17 years old, he's built like a future middle-of-the-order slugger with massive power potential. The projection on this kid is that he could develop into a legitimate 5-tool player. We're talking power, contact ability, elite fielding in center field, a strong arm, and decent speed. Those kinds of players don't grow on trees. Those are the kinds of players who become franchise cornerstones, the ones who anchor your lineup for a decade and become faces of the organization. But here's the story that should get every Phillies fan fired up. When Francisco Renteria was just 15 years old, he played in the Venezuelan Major League last summer. Not a youth league, not a showcase tournament, the actual Venezuelan Major League against grown men, many of whom were former MLB pitchers who had faced the best hitters in the world. And what did this 15-year-old kid do? He went 8 for 28, hitting .286 with 3 doubles. He wasn't just participating, he was competing. He was getting legitimate hits off pitchers who had pitched in the big leagues. And that's not normal. That's not something you see every day. That's the kind of raw, undeniable talent that separates good prospects from generational ones. The fact that he could hold his own at 15 against that level of competition tells you everything you need to know about his bat speed, his confidence, and his understanding of the game. This kid has it, and the Phillies just locked him down. Now, let's talk about what this means for the organization, because this signing tells you everything you need to know about Dave Dombrowski's vision for this team. Yes, the Phillies are in win-now mode. They signed Adolis Garcia. They traded for Brad Keller. They're clearly trying to maximize their championship window with Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, and Zach Wheeler all in their primes. But this move shows that Dombrowski isn't just focused on the next 2 or 3 years. He's building for sustained success. He's creating a pipeline of elite talent that will keep the Phillies competitive for the next decade. Think about the timeline here. Renteria is 17 years old right now. He's not stepping onto the field at Citizens Bank Park tomorrow. He's not even close to being major league ready. But in 4 to 5 years, when some of the current core pieces are aging or moving on, Renteria could be the next homegrown superstar leading this franchise. Imagine a scenario where in 2029 or 2030, Francisco Renteria is patrolling center field, hitting in the middle of the Phillies lineup and becoming the face of the franchise. That's the dream scenario. That's what this $4 million investment is buying. But even if that doesn't happen, even if Renteria doesn't develop into the superstar everyone thinks he can be, he still provides immense value to the organization. Because here's the thing. Blue chip prospects like this are currency in Major League Baseball. If the Phillies find themselves in a position where they need to make a blockbuster trade for an immediate impact player, Francisco Renteria becomes the centerpiece of that deal. Teams will line up to trade for a top-tier international prospect with this kind of upside. So either way, whether he develops into a star or becomes trade bait for the next big acquisition, the Phillies just got significantly richer in organizational talent. And let's put this in perspective with what's happening around baseball right now. The Mets just signed Bo Bichette to a massive deal. The Dodgers are building a super team. The Braves are reloading after injuries. Every contending team is trying to stack talent, both at the major league level and in their farm systems. The Phillies just made a statement that they're not getting left behind. They're investing in the future while also competing in the present. That's how you build a sustainable winner. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. $4 million for a 17-year-old who might never make it to the big leagues. Isn't that a huge risk? And yes, of course, it's a risk. Every prospect is a risk. But this is a calculated, high-upside gamble on a player who has already shown he can compete at levels far beyond his age. The scouting reports are glowing. The track record is there. And the Phillies clearly believe this kid is worth every penny of that record-tying bonus. The other thing to remember is that international signings like this are how teams build championship cores without breaking the bank on free agents. Look at the Braves with Ronald Acuna and Ozzie Albies. Look at the Padres with Fernando Tatis Jr. and Juan Soto. These teams locked up generational talents early and built sustainable winners around them. The Phillies are trying to do the same thing with Francisco Renteria. If he develops the way they think he will, this $4 million investment could end up being the best money the organization has spent in years. So here's what I want to know from you. Are you excited about this kind of long-term, high-upside move? Do you love seeing the Phillies invest in the future while also competing now? Or are you still more focused on the immediate roster, wanting to see big names like Bo Bichette or Cody Bellinger added to the lineup today? Because there's a balance here. The Phillies need to win now with the core they have, but they also need to think about what happens in 5 years when some of these current stars are past their prime. Francisco Renteria represents hope for the future. He's the kind of player who could define the next era of Phillies baseball. And while we won't see him at Citizens Bank Park anytime soon, the fact that the organization went all in with a record-tying bonus tells you everything you need to know about how much they believe in him. This is a franchise that's thinking big. This is a franchise that wants to win championships both now and for the next decade. And Francisco Renteria is a huge part of that vision. So let me know in the comments what you think. Are you hyped about this signing? Do you think Renteria becomes the next homegrown superstar? Or are you skeptical about spending this much on a 17-year-old? I want to hear all your thoughts, because this is the kind of move that could look genius in 5 years or could end up being a footnote in Phillies history. But either way, it's a bold statement from an organization that's all in on building a dynasty.